myself. Something heavy's going down. I'm with that Tate chick, and we're making love. God, she's beautiful.
I gave you back your head when I snatched your eyes. Now trip on it.
In this episode, we delve into the life and untimely death of Joseph Dennis Cole, an American roadie who played a significant role in the world of rock and punk music. Known for his work with legendary bands such as Black Flag, the Rollins Band, and Hole featuring iconic lead singer Courtney Love, his story is one of passion, dedication, and determination. In addition to being a roadie in the music industry, he was also an author, writer, and actor with several films to his credit. As we unravel this mystery, we celebrate the footprints he left behind in the world of music and beyond. Hello and welcome back to my channel. As always, thank you for joining me in this episode of What Happened. Born on April 10, 1961 in Los Angeles, California, Joseph Dennis Cole, also known as Joe Cole, was the only child born to American actor Dennis Cole and first wife Sally Bergeron. His father was a well-known actor in Hollywood, playing various roles in music and television shows like Young and the Restless, The Love Boat, Three's Company, and Murder, She Wrote. In 1977, after appearing in an episode of Charlie's Angels, Dennis met and would later marry Jacqueline Smith, who was a regular on the show. The marriage between his father and stepmother Jacqueline would only last a few years before they divorced. Throughout his career, Joseph would play in several films and is best known for his role as actor in the movie The Book of Manson, an adaptation about the life of cult leader and serial killer Charles Manson, of whom he played the role of Tex Watson. It is also noted that he received cinematography credit for the movie. Other movies to his credit include Bay City Story, Weatherman 69, and Sir Drone. His career as a roadie began with Black Flag, documenting their tour experiences. His best friend, Henry Rollins, was the lead singer of the group and enjoyed several years as a member before leaving in 1986 due to disagreements within the group about music. He would later go on to do solo work and soon formed his own band called the Rollins Band, with himself as lead singer. With the formation of the band, Cole would become the roadie for the group as they toured across the country. Famously, he was a roadie for the band Hole with lead singer Courtney Love, and in anticipation of the release of Hole's debut studio album, Pretty on the Inside, in 1991, he was hired to document their performances as the group embarked on an international concert tour to promote the album. The tour began in July of 1991 in Los Angeles and concluded in November of the same year. In December of 1991, while living together in the Oakwood area of Venice Beach, California, Cole, along with roommate and best friend Rollins, embarked on a project to document the plight of homeless Vietnam veterans in the area. Also known as Ghost Town, Oakwood was a predominantly Black and Hispanic area, notorious for its crime and by all measure unsafe to live. Their decision to move into the area was solely for the project, and Rollins was instrumental in helping Cole bond with the homeless vets who would eventually share their stories with him. Unbeknownst to them, their decision to move into the area would prove to be a fatal one. On December 19, 1991, Joe and Henry attended a Hole concert at the renowned Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub in West Hollywood. After leaving the concert, they stopped at an all-night market before heading home. As they approached their home, they were confronted by two armed intruders. One of the men forced Henry to his knees, while the other made Joe lie face down on the ground, demanding all their money. Disappointed at the mere $50, the gunman ordered Joe and Henry to retrieve more money from inside their home. Henry was allowed to go inside, and as he walked towards the door, one of the gunmen shot Joe at point-blank range in the head. They then fired a shot at Henry, narrowly missing him as he turned away. As he escaped out the back door, the gunman fled the scene, leaving Joe bleeding with a gunshot wound to the head. By the time authorities arrived, the intruders had disappeared, and Joe, only 30 years old, had succumbed to his injuries. Despite extensive interviews with hundreds of individuals in the neighborhood, no arrests were ever made. Investigators suspect that the perpetrators might still reside in the Oakwood area of Venice Beach. A $25,000 reward continues to be offered for information leading to their capture. On May 17, 1996, an episode of the case aired on the show Unsolved Mysteries. However, the suspects remain at large. The two men were later described as African American males in their 20s or 30s. One of the suspects was approximately 5'11" and 165 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. A composite photograph was rendered for one of the suspects, but a description for the other perpetrator remains a mystery. His girlfriend at the time, Michelle Leone, was bass player for the band Babes in Toyland, who at the time of Joe's death was overseas in England on tour. Devastated at the news of his death, she abruptly left the band in 1992 and would later go on to become a writer. Her memoir, I Live Inside, Memoir of a Babe in Toyland, detailed her experiences in the band and the grief she experienced after the loss of her boyfriend. After the death of Joe Cole, his father Dennis Cole would become an activist and spokesperson speaking out against violence on television. He also worked with the Nicole Brown Charitable Foundation to raise awareness for victims of crime. In a 1992 interview with the Los Angeles Times, best friend Henry Rollins revealed he kept a plastic container full of soil soaked with Cole's blood. It was the soil collected from where Joe's head lay motionless in the dirt after being shot. The blood-soaked soil has been preserved in the home of Rollins ever since. He also stated that he kept his phone, which he says is a direct line to Joe. A book of Joe's tour journal was published by Rollins after his death. It describes his time touring in the 1980s with Black Flag. Rollins believed they were targeted after producer Rick Rubin came to their home driving a Rolls Royce to listen to his new album, parking his car in front of their house. He was also seen walking around with a cell phone and in a poor neighborhood like Oakwood and may have looked as if they had money. Ironically, Rollins even wrote in his journal on the night of Rubin's visit to his home that it's going to be popped. The death of Joseph Cole is a haunting reminder of the dangers that can exist even when you have the most notable intentions. As a talented individual with a promising future, his life was tragically cut short on a night that started out like any other. The assailants, driven by greed, ended his life in a senseless act of violence. His story will forever be cemented as a chapter in the history of Venice Beach, highlighting the persistent challenges of crime and justice that the community continues to face. A great talent with a promising future, he was more than his accomplishments, but also a beloved member of his family and community. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of What Happened. As always, please like, comment, and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can always be the first to know what happened. Until next time.